Pokémon Platinum, the closest Game Freak ever came to making an 18+ game, and is also a remake of one of their most popular games, Diamond and Pearl. My theory is Game Freak saw the success of Diamond and Pearl and thought, nice, we'll make a cash grab to earn more pocket money. Wait, what's that? We have a bigger budget now, so we can invest more into a remake. Just use whatever sprites we've got and sprinkle in a few new Pokemon into gym leaders. That's a publish. And somehow, this cash grab became better than the serious products. So without further ado, let's play Pokemon Platinum to see, was it good? We start off meeting a chap named Professor Rowan, who asks for our name, so after a little searching it turns out our character is 10 years old. So the only appropriate thing to do would be to name ourselves 10-year-old. I hope this doesn't come back to bite us in the ass. Once in game we find a blonde-haired guy called Drake. All just a coincidence. And he tells us to come up to his room. Oh, goddammit. Fortunately, his mum was still home, so I think we got away with it this time. And he leads us onto the first route, to meet up with Professor Rowan. We get given our first Pokemon. Now this is a big talking point. Pokemon, specifically starting Pokemon, are very important to the success of a Pokemon game. These three starters, Chimchar, Turtwig, and Piplup, are some of the most well-rounded and well-designed Pokemon starters you could find, each with obvious weaknesses and strengths. It is truly a perfect trinity, each as strong as the other. However, you are advised to pick Chimchar, as the game only has about 2 other fire types available. Alas, we start with Piplup, as it has always been my favourite. En route to Sandium Town, where our nostalgic music plays, we talk to Professor Rowan, and he makes a 10-year-old begin unpaid slave labour. Charging onward, we learn how to catch a Pokemon, gain a Starly to the team, entering a cave, and just going around the first cave trainers. I mean, why have the trainers here at all? We make it to the first town, find the gym leader, catch an Onix, and begin our first gym challenge. For each gym, I'm going to break down their teams and discuss what made them good and what they could do better. Rourke has a Geodude, Onix, and Cranidos. For the first gym, this team is totally solid. Even with a water type, this gym is no breeze. It's a gale force of rocks, which do well to counter a lot of the common early core Pokemon like Shinx, Starly, and HM Slave. Not much I would change here, so that's a great start. Moving on swiftly, we encounter the evil team called Team Galactic, and I'll say this now, the grunts really need sprucing up a bit. They literally own the entire population of Zubat, and it's very boring and repetitive. Regardless, we see them off in the first double battle, and progress upwards towards a farmhouse, blocked by Team Galactic, until we get a special key. Fortunately, after making a fool of a few grunts, an old man notices my age and gives me a key to his wind farm. Now this is where Team Galactic does right. Boss battles. This Perugly is responsible for just about 98% of wipes in this game, so you should always approach with caution. I really enjoy the uniqueness of the mini boss fights. They each got their own ace and they feel like there's a theme. We clear out the wind farm and head up the road, compete in some double battles, and challenge the grass gym. Now this gym has a very clear weakness, flying types. Also, in the speed aspect, just about all flying types can easily outspeed her entire team and sweep way too easily. I would have liked to see maybe a Tropius. It wouldn't win any races, but would at least add some bulk to the team, especially with Reflect. Against flying types, she has no real strategy. Send in squishy attackers 3 times, if no one gets the ball rolling, it's a wrap. Ultimately, Grass is just a bad type of gym leader, as we alone have 3 to 4 Pokemon with moves that are 2 times super effective already. Ideally, they should have just moved Grass later into the game, maybe 5th gym, and run a better team using Sunny Day. This would have given far more opportunity for stronger Pokemon. Alas, we continue with our adventure, passing by some trees with Cut and into a building behind where we encounter some more of the same grunts, who all have Zubat, among very few other things. I do like the way they have the pre-evolution of their boss battles Pokemon. This allows you to get familiar with their moves and types, which definitely helps newer players. Eventually, we lay the smackdown on Jupiter and pick up our bike from the shop. Now kitted out with a bike, we are able to traverse the biker's route. We steam ahead, bump into Cyrus. He waffles to us and we ignore him, and make our way to the Ghost Gym, which first of all, I love the puzzles here. It feels unique. Before long, we challenge Fantina, and this battle is amazing. I love the team she's using. It's fresh, it's new. What I love is when a gym leader has a Pokemon you can't expect because you haven't seen one yet. Makes them feel like they're a cut above the pack. This Miss Magius is a real special case. Very fast and powerful. Fortunately, with a mixture of Sweet Kiss and Confusion, Lucky Metronome, we get ourselves the Relic Badge. From here, there's a bit of a beat on gym challenges, as you have to make it through another small town on the way through. These routes are challenging. With double battles, evolved Pokemon, the game really takes a peg up. Before long, we challenge Maylene and her fighting types. Fortunately, we've grinded up Staravia a bunch, and she is able to wipe the floor with everyone except Lucario. This gym battle feels a little too easy, considering we've just manhandled all these ace trainers. Meditite and Machoke feel so weak, and the team is carried by Lucario. What I really think they needed here was a fourth Pokemon in the form of Heracross with Rock Tomb. A Pokemon with a decent speed stat and high attack that can help defeat flying types, whilst also leveraging some speed stats, which will help Meditite and Machoke thrive just a bit more, allowing her team to take its slower, weaker Pokemon and have them become a potential threat as well. With no bulk on the team, speed advantage becomes a requirement and not an option. So with relative ease, we take our win over Maylene and quickly end up evolving Staravia into Staraptor, one of the best Pokemon in Platinum. With Staraptor in tow, we navigate the next gym challenge versus Crash Awake. Now this puzzle is very enjoyable, making you really think about different depths. It's truly very enjoyable. After working on our team a bit, we are ready to take on Crash Awake, and his team is amazing. Gyarados, one of the best Pokemon to ever debut in the early Pokemon games, is able to wipe entire teams by itself. After taking out my Staraptor, Baneri is able to knock him out with a couple of dizzy punches. That was anticlimactic. Regardless, out comes another heavy hitter, Floatzel. This team is aggressive, all-out physical aggressive threats with high speed. So why did they include this? Quagsire is probably one of the worst water types in terms of making this team successful. You take out Quagsire and you switch in Wishcash, who is ultimately just a better option, keeping the resistance to electric but with psychic attacks to help punish against grass type Pokemon, and ground to punish electric types. Essentially, they weakened his entire team more than it needed to be. With the badge claimed, we can now fly, which is one of the best forms of fast travel known to mankind. So we clear some Psyducks from blocking the road, and through what must be the worst mechanic ever added to a Pokemon game, Fog. I mean, why add this and give it a battle mechanic, where both Pokemon have lowered accuracy? In a generation with loads of inaccurate moves, you just end up with frustrating RNG skillless, who doesn't miss first wins. Before long, we bumped into Cyrus, who challenges us, and Staraptor, now very overleveled, wipes the floor with him. It's after this point I feel like teams can start getting a bit more diverse. We get access to a load of new Pokemon like Noctowl and a bunch more, showing us that there are more Pokemon in this game other than Zubat. Team Galactic could use this advice. After another blowout match against Drake, we take on the Steel Gym, Byron, who is an extremely lackluster team. Firstly, any fire type move will sweep him. Secondly, water and grass one-hit both of his strongest Pokemon. I know your options are limited, but where the hell is Bronzong? First for a Trick Room setup, and a counter to grass types. That to me just seems obvious. When playing a slow but beefy team, but when they're all weak to the most basic of types, they can't be beefy, so they have to be fast. This gym is lackluster at best. They clearly just looked at stats and fully evolved Pokemon and said they can do it. No teamwork, no synergy. With Bronzong, you'd be onto something. At least you had coverage against other weakness types. After that clown fest, we watch a bunch of fish with no water, and it's very interesting. So we beat the shit out of man responsible, Saturn, and leave the fish to asphyxiate through some snowy mountains, which makes for a great fresh change in scenery and a new challenge in Hail, which makes you adapt just a bit to your environment, which makes the world feel a bit more alive. Before we can save the world, we're demanded to take on Candice for her gym badge, because what's the world in comparison to her gym challenge? So we take her up on her offer and begin punching our way through her Pokemon. Unfortunately, this gym is rather meh, but to be frank on the creators, They use all the ice types that they can get their hands on, other than Glaceon. This team can't get better. They use Hail, they have 4 Pokemon. It's a step up, but their weaknesses are just too obvious and exploitable. But there's not much they can really do about that with their limited Pokemon pool. Finally being allowed to continue saving the world, we rock climb our way to Lake Acuity, save the day, and head back to Team Galactic's base. It's time for a 10-year-old to put an end to their grand plans. After seeing Cyrus release his grand plans with his speech, we free the 3 Lake Guardians, legendary Pokemon, who look a little like aliens, but in a cool way. We head for Mount Coronet, where Cyrus will be completing his plans for world domination. After beating up a whole bunch of Zubat and glorified Zubat, we reach the summit, and have to double battle with Drake against Jupiter and Mars. This fight was great and very enjoyable. Good teams, good Pokemon, high level, finally starts to feel a bit strategic. Afterwards, Drake runs and leaves us to deal with the rest, as Cyrus releases 2 legendary Pokemon called Dialga and Palkia upon the world, the deities of time and space. The Lake Guardians appear and start a cinematic of a dark shadow of goo appear and attack the player's screen, breaking the 4th wall. Cynthia explains that this must be Giratina, the 3rd deity of the reverse world. Sounds like fun to us, so we jump into the distortion world, loads of unique puzzles that really make you think hard. Before long, we are challenged by Cyrus in an epic showdown in the distortion world. This Gyarados is an absolute menace with an incredible moveset, ready for any situation. Truly a monster. His team is very adept and scary, full of unique evolutions and powerhouses, speedsters and towers to overcome. Truly an enjoyable end-story boss battle. They clearly knew what they wanted from him, and he delivered. After a fantastic battle with Cyrus, we get to challenge Giratina in his realm, and we quickly catch him in a Master Ball, adding him to the team. With our new team member, we headed to challenge the final gym before the league, Electric Volkner. It's a pretty easy wipeout. We really needed to get a Lantern into the team, something to help deal with ground types. And also, a Rotom would have been a big game changer, able to swap into ground type moves. I think they got a bit lazy and just threw in a big fully evolved Pokemon for the fun of it, which is pretty disappointing for a final gym, as Giratina just sweeps the whole thing. With the final gym beat, we ascend upon Victory Road, facing loads of ace trainers, which do feel very challenging. Their Pokemon have good moveset, you can really feel the challenge. Alas, we make our way through them, into the Pokemon League, prepare our movesets, level up a bunch, making any changes to the team necessary. Before we enter, we have to challenge Drake one last time. This match isn't too hard. However, I was grossly unprepared for this challenge, so it took us by surprise at the start. But after some time, we get into the game, and after losing a bomb in the snow, we let Staraptor smack around the enemy Heracross, and Giratina deal with Floatzel. In a quick minute, we have Staraptor take out Rapidash to close out our final rival battle. However, this wasn't as easy as I thought, so I decided to level my Pokemon to the level cap, and take on the Pokemon League. First is Aram. I wish his Yamega had more going for it than just a double team abuser. The rest fall quickly to mostly one-hit kills, Stealth Rock showing its value versus Vesmaquin. Next up is Bertha. Her Gliscor is a menacing threat, but fortunately, Empoleon was able to take him out with a single Ice Beam, and Hippowdon fell to Avalanche. With a few close combats, Staraptor had taken out half the team and done irreversible damage to Rhyperior, so Giratina could come out and finish the job. Next up is Flint. With his far improved fire team in Platinum. They've removed his Lopunny, which I hardly think he kept around for battles, and replaced it with Flareon, an actual fire type. Regardless, this started out as you'd imagine, surf sweeping, until Empoleon got outsped by Magmortar and went down to a Thunderbolt. Fortunately, Giratina was able to continue the sweeping with Earth powers. There's just far too many weaknesses to a fire-only team, especially late game with limited fire choices. Finally, Lucian with his psychic types. This team is surprisingly well balanced, with a great mixture of bulk and high-speed threats. I'm impressed by the balancing choices made with his team, leveraging both status, move, control, and damage. Unfortunately, it's not enough against Staraptor, as we put his Pokemon to bed and move on to the final challenge. Here at last, we take on Cynthia, in the Battle of the Ages, easily the best champion of all time. We lay down Stealth Rock. The chip damage will come in handy, especially against Togekiss. We begin setting up some curses afterwards, in an attempt to lay down some damage with an Iron Tail. This got Spiritomb below half and a defense drop. This is perfect for a switch in. We put in Empoleon and hit an Ice Beam for the knockout. Cynthia then sends in her ace, Garchomp, taking a small amount of stones damage. He hits us with an Earthquake. If Empoleon survives, we knock out with a 4 times super effective Ice Beam. But unfortunately, the Garchomp one-hit KOs us. Unfortunately, he also outspeeds my entire team now. With nothing to take it out with, we send Lucario, hoping for a bit of speed advantage to land a hit. But no luck. Lucario goes down, and that's when it hits us. I should have sent Staraptor on Garchomp's switch in for the attack drop, outspeed damage, and clean house with Empoleon, then being able to survive an Earthquake. Now we're in a terribly tight position as we switch in Giratina right after a full restore on Garchomp. And our Dragon Claw drags him back to half as we tank a Dragon Rush and land another Dragon Claw for the takedown. Holy shit, what a threat. That Garchomp alone is enough to make Cynthia an absurd threat. Giratina out against Lucario and get hit by a Stone Edge, which doesn't do too much damage, as an Earth Power drops him to half, and we survive a Shadow Ball to KO Lucario. Switching Obama Snow into Milotic, as a combination of Wood Hammer and Stones are enough to take her out in one hit. Togekiss is next, and we choose to stay in, Stones doing big damage. We look to Avalanche if we survive the Aura Sphere, and hold on with 13 HP, and land a massive double damage 2 times effective Avalanche for the knockout. Finally, Roserade. I'm sure she outspeeds all my team here. After losing both Giratina and Abomasnow, it's down to Staraptor to finish carrying this game for us. Praying we outspeed, we go for the Brave Bird and land a beautiful hit, knocking Roserade out and winning us the title of Pokemon Champion. To answer the question, was it good? Yes, Platinum is a massive success over Diamond and Pearl, a wonderful remake of the games, fixing a bunch of issues previously implemented. However, it does come with its own drawbacks. The gym challenges are made blatantly easy. Things like Crash Awake using Quagsire over Wishcash is an absolute crime that makes no logical sense other than make the game easier. Giving Elite Four absolutely no strategy at all. Who runs a full fire team without Sunny Day? Or a speed boosted double teaming Yanmega without Baton Pass? It feels like a lot of Pokemon movesets are half done. Like they don't want to make it that strong. But I think it's important to have learning curves for players have to adapt, and it makes other moves more relevant. Stuff like Haze as a counter to Yanmega. In truth, most status moves are never needed because we're almost never required to deliver into the game tactically, just offensively. Also, the Pokemon move variety needed some work. I had Pound on Prinplup until he evolved in the 30s, and HMs are still some of the worst mechanics ever made. With that said and done, the game really excelled in terms of boss battles, and making them feel intense and thoughtful. Cyrus and Cynthia are both some of the strongest boss battles you'll ever have to face, and the story and level curves scale up smoothly, giving plenty of trainers time to level up. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.